Hey everybody, Sean Holsinger here from Holsinger's Fly Shop. Today I'm bringing you a new pattern with some new material that we just started carrying in the shop that's newer out. It's UV Flex, Life Flex Wrap. I'll give you a close-up of that there. This color here is chartreuse. Comes in a couple different colors. We carry it at the shop in brown, black, chartreuse, white, and olive. The brown and the black, I gotta be honest with you, brown and black doesn't look too much different in each other. So, I mean, buy one and you really got the other one. It's really cool. It's got rubber, makes really rubbery leg kind of look to it. It's got rubber and some flash woven into a string, and it's kind of like a dubbing brush kind of thing. But what we're going to tie with it is a really simple woolly bugger pattern, and it takes like 2-3 minutes for me to tie one. So sit back and check it out. Alright, like I said here, we tie it in a couple different colors. This one here is the brown one. I'll just pop a couple in the vise here real quick to show you the different colors. Here's a nice chartreuse one. The olive, you know, I tie a ton in olive. I fish olive really, probably more than any other color in my streams. It just seems to work for me, so I'm definitely going to be fishing the olive one. And this is a really neat color that I really like. I think it's going to make a white, it's going to make a nice pattern for a minnow invitation, swinging it actually for this reason here, because I'm going to be swinging it like a minnow. I'm not going to weight these, so that way I can either swing it or, you know, dead drift it with I just put the split shot on my line. But if I want to swing it and I don't want it weighted real heavy, that way I can fish it multiple ways. So just use split shots. Anyhow, we're going to tie it on a 2220 Daiichi size 10 hook. Tie it bigger or smaller if you want. I'm tying it on a size 10. For thread, I'm just using a 6/0 black down to the end of the spool here, but just use 6/0 or 140 denier, whatever you got. And you're really not going to see the thread, so the color isn't as important on this fly. The first thing we're going to do on it is put a tail on it. I'm using some strung marabou in brown. This fly we're going to tie here now is, we're going to use the brown UV Life Flex Wrap. So I'm going to use brown with a brown tail. Just try to match your tail, your marabou tail, to the, you know, the color of the body that you're going to be tying with. So how I'm going to measure my tail is I'm going to take the whole marabou feather. I'm going to pinch it and slide my fingers down it, okay? And pinch all the fibers together, like that. Now I'm going to set it on top of the hook, and I'm going to measure the length of the hook. And I want it to be about 3/4 the length of the hook. So I don't want it to be the whole length. So when I'm tying it down, I'm going to hold it so I only tie down. You can see how, there it is. I'm holding it in my finger. It's the length of the fly. Where I drop back and I'm going to tie it down at, you can see the bend of the hook is in a little bit from my finger. So I'm going to tie about 3/4 of the length of the shank of the hook there. I'm just going to make a couple wraps and tie this down and tie it back towards the bend. Then I like to hold it, if you see what I did there, I put my scissor right behind the cone head. And then I'll just pull the fibers up, cut it off right behind the cone head. And what I'm actually doing here, the reason why I'm doing this, is I want to add a little bit of density to the body. So I'm going to wrap this marabou down just to give me a little bit more thickness to the body. Okay, as for the cone head, I'm using brass cone heads. This one actually is in a silver. Use whatever color you have, that doesn't really matter. 3/16 is the size I'm using for this to match my size 10 hook. Next thing we're going to put on is a piece of crystal flash. I'm using a piece of green crystal flash. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to double one piece over. And just match the ends up on it. And then I'm going to put that on one side. So I just have 2 fibers on one side there. Okay, same length as my marabou tail. And I'm going to hold it down so I get it wrapped onto the side. Then I'm going to bring it over to the other side, pull it onto the other side and hold it in the middle to get it right on the middle on the other side. Okay, then I'm just going to trim that off. Like I said, same length as the marabou tail. Then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to put the UV Life Flex on. We're using the brown. Now like I said, this is a rubber, it's kind of like a dubbing brush, if you know what that is. And it's rubber and some flash spun into a piece of thread. So I'm just going to take and pull off a couple pieces of the rubber so I get the piece of thread sticking out here, and it gives me something to tie down to. So I'm not tying down all those pieces of rubber. We're just going to tie that piece of thread down, wrap it back to the back, and then we're going to wrap it up to the bead head. Then simply just start palmering this forward, and with every wrap I'm taking and I'm pinching the fibers, pulling all those rubber legs back. Don't wrap over top of one another here, just keep wrapping it forward. Until you get it up to the cone head. Okay, when I get it up to the cone head, I'm just going to make 2 or 3 wraps around this. And what I sometimes tend to do is I'll come up and I'll make 1 wrap just around the thread. If you saw there, I went around the thread, above the cone, and down the other side. And just made 1 wrap around the thread and then back around behind the cone head there. That kind of ties that in just a little bit better for whenever you trim this off. Okay, then I'll just pull all my material back out of the way. Make a couple more wraps just to tighten her down for sure. And whip finish. Alright, and that's all that's to this simple fly. Like I said, all the material you need to tie it, we got at the shop at holsingersflyshop.com. This is so simple. Literally, it took me 6 minutes to shoot the video, but if I'm tying these by myself, I can tie 2.5 minutes probably. Really, really simple tie. You can't, very small on material list. It's a great beginner's fly, and it'll catch fish too. So give us a look at the shop to get the materials, and as always, thanks for watching my videos, and please take the time to subscribe to my channel so you can constantly be updated with them.